Hi guys, I'm Diane, and thanks for joining me today. I would like to share my reversion story back to the faith. So, without wasting any time, I was get into it. So, I was born into a Catholic family. Both my dad and mom are Catholics, and they got married in the church and everything. So, at the age of 7, my parents separated, and I went on to live with my grandparents on my dad's side. So my grandma raised us in the Catholic faith. So we went to church every Saturday. I eventually did my first communion and all of that, no problem. However, my family did believe that all religions led to the same truth, to the same. There's no difference. All religions are the same. There's many ways to the truth. That's what they believed. Then as I was growing up later on at the age of 15, 16, I went on to live with my dad. Now my dad, he was not a practicing Catholic at all. I know he did have a lot of he really did adore Our Lady, Our Blessed Virgin Mary, but he was mainly into Hinduism and Buddhism, practice Hinduism and Buddhism. So yeah, when I went on to live with my dad, I fell away from the faith. So at the age of definitely 15 onwards, I fell away from the faith. I was not going to Sunday church, to mass. Wasn't praying Rosary. wasn't really praying nothing. It just nothing. So because I was exposed to Buddhism and Hinduism, so I started, I was open to it, and I would just pray and nothing much, nothing too serious. And then at the age of 17, yeah, during the final year of high school, I sat next to a friend, a classmate of mine who was a Muslim, who then proselytized me and shared her faith, saying that, Jesus didn't die on the cross. And me being poorly catechized, I took that in very seriously, and I was, why would God the Father let Jesus suffer and let him be crucified and be scourged and mocked and, go through this horrible suffering? And she said that, Jesus ascended into heaven without being crucified. So then, I got into it, but only for a few years, a year or two, because eventually I came to a realization in my heart that there was no love for the other, and I fell away from it. So by this time, I was quite, my early 20s, beginning from 20 onward, I was very depressed. I was going through quite a lot of emotional distress and everything, and when I got so fed up and disillusioned with religion, because I seeked religion, I seeked God to help me with my depression, but I felt like God was not hearing me, and I was in this darkness, and I was all nihilistic, and I felt abandoned. So my main argument would be, all the religions were saying, we are the truth, and that just made me quite fed up, really. And so while I was depressed and I was in university at that point, I started getting into very heavy music. It started off with, simple things like Nirvana and things like that, Metallica, and eventually it just got into like heavier and heavier and heavier music. Eventually I was just listening to black metal, really, and that's how I got exposed to the devil, the evil one. Okay, so I got desensitized basically to anything that was evil, or like the Baphomet and satanic symbolisms. Usually people are quite afraid of those things, but I was quite open to it, and I started becoming curious. Hey, who is this? Who's the devil? What is he all about? Why are people afraid? And I thought maybe the religious people were just being extreme, afraid of nothing really. So during that phase, then there's one point I got exposed to Aleister Crowley. For those of you who know, I don't know why you know. You shouldn't know. Just stay away from Aleister Crowley. If I remember, it's do what you will is the whole of the law, love under will. What I say, remember that? I shouldn't. Yes, from that's how I got exposed to like things like sigil magic, tarot, Egyptian gods, and those kind of things. So by this time I've left uni. I was back in Malaysia. I was into the occult really, and about the power of manifestation, like manifesting your ideas and your vision and those kind of things, and the power of attraction. However, those things were not working for me because I was still very, very depressed and going through a lot of turmoil within my soul. I was in a very, very dark place, but I still believe that, this tarot, I used to have this tarot deck. So it had all this Egyptian and also, Aleister Crowley symbolism in that. So my music got darker and darker to the point where all you hear is just guttural noises, and for me that was like, hey, that's my everyday listening, easy listening. And Black Sabbath would be like pop music to me, it's just yeah. And at the same time I got into Shaivism, because if you're like spiritual, anything is permissible, So I was into tarot, Aleister Crowley, and Shaivism. Shaivism, if you do not know, is a branch of Hinduism that is devoted to the Lord Shiva. And when I had this devotion to him, what I did was I dedicated my hair to him. I got my hair dreadlocked. Yes, and I dedicated a special room in my home for him. And I had this altar of the Lord Shiva. And then I would have, on the altar, I would have a Nagini. There's a whole nother story in Nagini, and tarot decks of the day, and then the reading of the day, tarot, and all these kind of things. I used to go to a temple and, offer milk to the snake goddess and those kind of things. Yeah. And at the same time, I was reading about the keys of King Solomon, the various seals of King Solomon, and reading about a lot of magic, about magic really. There was about spells, about magic, yes. And I came to a point where I started empathizing with the devil, And the more I read these materials and the more I practiced the tarot and all this spirituality, I started sympathizing with the devil. I thought, hey, you know what, the devil is all right, I thought Baphomet was just misunderstood. Baphomet, I thought, was really just, he's just all about the free will, not serving, non serviam. The Latin non serviam. I came across that while studying about, researching about the devil, and also when I was researching, I was doing tarot readings and all those kind of things. And I thought, yeah, non serviam makes sense, because your will is all that you own, and you should be able to do what you will. Not being subservient to anything or anyone or any god. surprisingly, later on, when I came back to the faith, especially, when I came back to the Latin Mass and all of these things, I came across serviam, which is to serve, to serve under the Lord. And it creeped me out later on, when I came back to the faith, when I was into that mentality of non-serviam. And if you saw me back then, I mean, I look skinny now, but back then I really look like walking corpse, really, all depressed and into the wrong things. Many more other things, but I think that's good enough. So fast forward, when I wanted to get married to my husband, my mom said, I would like you to get married in a Catholic church. I said, yeah, okay, fine. I'll go to a priest. So I went to a priest, a local church, and I went to the priest and I said, I would like to get married in the church. And the priest asked me, I've not seen, because I lived in a small town at that point. And so the priest really knew all the Catholics within this small town. So he said, I've never seen you during Sunday Mass. I said, that's because I don't believe and I don't attend Mass, and I only come, I'm now here because my mom told me to, Then the priest said, oh, but, you've not done your confirmation and all of that, then how is it we're going to proceed with this? Because I need you to believe for you to get you to do your confirmation and to get the marriage done. God bless this priest. He's a really good priest, really. And I believe that he must have prayed for me, and my husband. Yes. Sorry, I had to stop the video halfway because my baby was crying. Yeah. So then the priest said, at least is your husband is willing to get baptized and convert? I said, no, why should he? Never. Why should he convert just to get married to me? Then the priest thought about it for a while and he said, okay, how about your children? Are you willing to later on baptize your children? I said, no. I said the word never. Why should I do that? My children have, their own freedom, their own choice. They can become Muslim, they can become Christian, they can become Hindu, whatever they like. I'm not going to force them to get baptized. I'm not going to baptize them as babies. Then the priest said to me, I'm sorry, Diane, unfortunately, the church is not a wedding hall. It's not a wedding venue, for you to just come and do your ceremony just because you want to do. And you need the faith to have your marriage conducted in the church. And God bless that priest. That's a really good priest. Yeah. Then later on, I came to England after the wedding. We had a Hindu wedding and also like a Protestant ceremony, because one of my aunts is an elder at a Protestant church. She somehow helped us to get, a Christian wedding done. Yeah. And then I came to England. When we were in England, we lived we rented a room. We just, a newly married couple wanted to save money. We rented a room. And the house belonged to a Jehovah's Witness. The uncle who was renting the room out to us, he was a really nice man, a very wise old man, I would say. Very kind, very loving. So, he gave us so many Jehovah's Witness materials and all of that. I was quite skeptic, and, coming from a Catholic background, I was like, no, I just knew Jehovah's Witnesses were not the thing, Then it was not it, basically. But my husband was, oh, yeah, that's interesting. So he read some materials and all of that, but he never took it seriously until I got pregnant. When I got pregnant, my husband got serious about how we're going to raise the child, what values are we going to impart on this child, and those sort of things. And he thought that, we're going to raise this little baby, he's going to grow up, and one day all of us are going to die. And is that it? Is that it? Is that the end of love and all these memories that we create? And, so he was like, is there an afterlife? And he started questioning all this. So he attended a few Jehovah's Witnesses meetings. In those meetings, he started to realize how disciplined the JW families were, how they were raising their families in a very, conservative manner, which appealed to my husband and appealed to me as well. However, I was still not buying the whole thing, And my husband kept studying the Bible. From then he started reading the Bible. Then we moved from that place because, then we moved to a different flat. When we moved, this time it was just both of us. We were not interested in JW at that point. We knew it was not because of the whole Trinitarian issue. My husband came to the realization that the Christianity faith is a Trinitarian faith, Trinitarian monotheism. How he came to the faith, now I will try and get him to do his a video on his conversion story. So I was during this journey, I was quite sarcastic. I was quite skeptical, especially against my husband. I said, I've been raised with Jesus. Like, why? What is it that you are seeing that I have not seen? It felt all boring to me, and I was trying to get him like, hey, why don't we go to temple? Let's explore the Hindu spirituality, or tarot cards. I brought him for like tarot card readings, and we consulted the tarot card reader, and I was trying to get back to the whole spirituality thing, get him into that thing, But over time, eventually, by the grace of God, he managed to convince me that Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life, and I accepted that over time, because obviously when you marry someone, you're in the same house, you're going to listen to all the, he watched so many videos and was reading the Bible, and I was able to listen out, because I was involuntarily listening to all of those arguments and the videos and the debates. It convinced me of the faith. So at this point, we were Bible-believing Christians. The thought of going to a Catholic church didn't even cross our minds. It was just no way, Jose. Like, no, because the Catholics have statues and all these things. We were like, no. We needed to find a Bible-believing church. So we did try to attend a Baptist church once, but my husband said something about he felt like there was no reverence. He felt it's too much of a show and those kind of things. And so we tried to church shop, and then we got disillusioned and got fed up, because we felt like we couldn't fit in anywhere. It was just not what we wanted, and the idea of worship that we were thinking about was just not in these churches. And then so we said, then my husband and I decided, you know what, let's just stay at home, let's just worship our way. And we studied, we read the Bible, and we pray together, and God will lead us somewhere. Then one day I told my husband, hey, you know what, we haven't tried the Catholic Church really. Why don't I just go and see? Why don't we go and see? And my husband was not happy about it. He said, no, it's Catholic Church is not for me. They worship idols. I definitely do not want to go to a Catholic church. However, if you want to go and have a seat, I'm willing to drop you. So there was a Catholic church nearby. This was in South London, so it was nearby, and he dropped me. And the first mass that I went to, it was a regular mass, nothing special. I was sitting at the back. I think this was during COVID times as well. So I was sitting at the back with my mask on. I was going with an open heart, yet I was quite standoffish, I was quite skeptical. And then, however, so there was liturgy of the word, where they read the Bible, first reading, second reading, and the gospel. So during the liturgy, the part where the priest said, "This is my body, this is my blood, this is my body, which shall be given up for you." At that moment, this is my body, this is my blood. For some reason, sorry, my husband beat me. For some reason, I had this really, really strong sense of the truth. It just hit me that Jesus is truly present in the Eucharist. So after the Mass, my husband picked me up. As soon as I got in the car, I was like, Sebi, I don't know anything about, I don't know. I know they have statues and everything. They pray, worship Mary and everything. Can I just say, Jesus is really, really present in the Eucharist. I truly believe in that truth. And my husband kept silent. He didn't make any comments. So this went on for weeks and weeks. I just kept going every Sunday to church, and eventually my heart softened up. I was more open to the grace. Then came a time where I was convinced that we got to get our son baptized, and around this time our son was already 1.5 years old, and my husband was not having it. He said, no, I say, Diane, you're going to the Catholic Church now. However, I don't think we should baptize our son. At this point, I was also having such discussions with the priest. The priest was really helping to, answer questions that I had about the faith, about, the different difficulties I was having with the different dogmas and all of these things. So he was, really trying to iron out those, questions. At one point, suddenly one day, my husband came to me and said, Diane, you said you want to baptize our son. I said, yeah, let's do that. I was like, oh, sorry, how? Why? And he was like, no, you know what? I'm convinced infant baptism is okay. It's part of the truth. It's not wrong to get a baby baptized. And I was okay. So from then on, he started opening up to Catholicism. Then we started going to a local church. We moved again, and then we started going to a local church, a Catholic church. We started attending Mass together, and my husband decided to get into RCIA. I also wanted to get into RCIA because I needed to do my confirmation by that point. I've done first communion back then, obviously. Confirmation, you need to do your general confession and all of these things. That's how we came back to the faith. And eventually we got into a Latin Mass parish, and that is a whole other story. But I think I'll end it here for now. Just it's been quite long, 22 minutes. I'll just end it here, and maybe I'll post another video on how I got into the Latin Mass. So please comment. I would really love to read your comments. Thank you for watching. I did stop the video here and there because my baby. I had to attend to my baby. Thanks for listening, and hope that you guys will subscribe for more videos. This is just a beginning of something. I may the Lord lead me, our Blessed Virgin Mary lead me to what I want to do with this channel. Until next time then. Thank you for watching. Bye.